Here courtside, Adam Cavalier joined by head men's basketball coach Chuck Benson. Chuck, break this one down. Lose by 19 on the road against a top 25 Lincoln Memorial team that has just one home loss in the last 4 years. What'd you see from your team? A first half where you fared better than the second half offensively, and the inverse true defensively.
Just an incomplete 40. You can't. You're really the more stingy the competition, the more consistent your performance has to be. And if you look at this from the standpoint of a 40-minute performance, it was very, very choppy and incomplete. And I was very excited. I think our team's very excited about this kind of opportunity to first play another conference game. And we've played a similar opponent earlier this year. Schematically, but tonight, congrats to LMU. They have a lot to do with the opponent's performance, as we have something to do with our opponent's performance. But tonight they outperformed us on both sides of the ball, and we've got to figure out a way to take the information and the experience and get better from it.
Struggle to get going from beyond the arc, especially in the second half. Just 1 of 11 from three-point land in the final 20 minutes. How much of that is Carson-Newman? How much of that is Lincoln Memorial?
99% of it's Lincoln Memorial. 99%. I mean, you had, let's see here. Both teams, we took 24 threes. They took 25. So we both have more or less the same number of attempts. Both of us had the same desire to defend the three. They defended it better than we did. They stayed out of scramble. They stayed out of closeout. We worked very, very hard. We worked very, very hard to find shots, but kudos to them. They did a really, really fine job of negating clean looks. And, we got to figure out a way to get our shooters more shots in the half court. And transition's one thing, in the half court's something else.
Yeah, I can't – there are not too many clean looks that I can think of from deep. That you got offensively, as you said, in the half court. Trey Hubbard, 20 points, probably a touch more inefficient than you would prefer. Jack Browder, 18. What did you see from those two?
Just what you said. I mean, they were a big point scorers. Other than that's the fact. I mean, it was a tough day, man. LMU does a good job defensively. They are very, very sound in their scout preparation. I think we are too. Those guys found opportunities because obviously LMU is really trying to impact Nick and John's three-point opportunities. So it allows for a little more paint touch by Jack and Trey, and that's good. But we've still got to have when our team has been best offensively this year, we've had a lot of diversity. We've not had one or two guys that have produced well. We've had 4 and 5 guys that have produced well. We weren't able to get that tonight.
Rebounding. You win the rebounding battle against kind of an interesting matchup. You're the number 1 team in the country in terms of rebounding margin. You were going up against the number 1 rebounder in the nation in Martez Brown, and it feels like both of you delivered. At the end of the day, probably didn't impact the overall outcome of this one, but accounted for yourselves well on the road when it's always important to rebound on the road.
Yeah, I mean, Martez Brown has, in his time here, has only gotten better, and he's arguably the best singular rebounder in the country at this point. But I think we're an elite rebounding team ourselves, and it was difficult today, man, because he is so impactful. I mean, let's just call it like he is. According to this stat sheet, he's got him at 21 rebounds.
Yeah.
Now, did he have that many? I don't know. Maybe he did. I know he had a lot of opportunities on the defensive end in particular to collect them, but we came on the road, won the rebounding battle. Came on the road, doubled them up in free throws. Really sort of took care of the ball for the most part, 12 turnovers, and I sort of take that. So there's some things there that are positive. It's just that at the end of the day, we've got to be able to be more efficient in the half court, and we have to put a 40-minute defensive performance in play.
How much of that Lincoln Memorial shot 66% from the field in the first half. That's the highest shooting percentage you've allowed since Johnson C. Smith shot the cover off the ball in 2019, if you'll remember the nightmares of that game. How much of that were they taking what was given and just making, or was something amiss there?
They took 12 threes the first half. They made 9 of them. Sells and Burries were the 2 we really wanted to try to impact, and I think we did that in a pretty good way. But then Rankin, who can make shots, but he's really more of a distributor, facilitator. He jumps up and makes 3, and this new kid, Ennis, jumps up there and makes a few, including the walk-off half-court bank shot to end the first half. So, some of that was enticement. Some of it was enticement. But I felt like we went this game saying we really have to defend the 3. We have to defend 3. And I think they wanted to do the same thing. Both teams wanted to. It's just that they, they're at home. They're a little bit more comfy here than other teams. And they do have elite shot makers. So, again, they were able to capitalize where we didn't.
Biggest thing that you learned about your team from this one? Instant gut reaction without watching film.
And of course, that's a tough question, Cab, because you can never really boil it down for the most part to just one singular thing. I just don't feel comfortable making a statement that may or may not be accurate. I know that there's I know this. We've got to find a way to get better against certain styles, certain fights. Because now we've got 2 games where we've struggled with this a little bit. And we've got to find a way to get better in this kind of situation. At the same point, make it uncomfortable and make it difficult for the opponent.
All right. You get Newberry on Saturday, Hall of Fame weekend, inducting, I believe, class number 25 all-time for the Carson-Newman Athletics Hall of Fame. What do you have to do to learn from this one and welcome in a Jason Taylor coach team, and the fact that those words are uttered, you know that it's going to be a team that's well coached. Right.
Well, by the time we get to practice tomorrow, we will have addressed this game, but we move on very, very quickly. We play in basically 72 hours, and focusing more than tonight and in the early part of tomorrow on this is wasted time. It's time we don't have to waste. So we'll start doing the preliminary sort of pre-work, which we've already begun on Newberry. But as you said, they're always stingy defensively. They're very, very well coached on both sides of the ball. We know that we've got to bounce back quickly. We can't feel sorry for ourselves, and we got to get happy quick and go out there with a mindset of resiliency and positivity, and go out there and put our best foot forward on Saturday.
Chuck, pleasure as always. We'll talk to you Saturday against the Wolves.
Thanks, Kev.
That is Carson-Newman head men's basketball coach Chuck Benson.